hope you're all well. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I thought I'd hop on and explain what's been happening and what I've been going through recently. So a while back, you remember, I went on a manifestation retreat where I asked to connect to my guides and just basically have a deeper connection with them, which I found amazing. And I connected once again to my guardian angel Sarah, and she explained who she was, that she was the daughter of Mary Magdalene and Jesus, and how I had that meditation with her 4 years prior, but I sort of just shrugged it off and just thought, okay, something, maybe I just thought that. But then obviously when I researched it and went down the line, I found out indeed that Jesus and Mary did have a daughter called Sarah. And there's been wonderful things that have been happening since then, those 4 years and in the run up. And I got in touch with a wonderful lady called Rachel Goodwin, who channels Sarah. And I had a wonderful conversation with her earlier this morning, actually. So yeah, it's just been absolutely amazing. And basically this February, I feel like it's been like my awakening week. Both good and positive, because when you do this kind of work, it's going to bring out things and make you confront a few things, which usually you're like, oh my god, what is going on, and you're nervous. But at the end of the day, when you sort of work with your shadow work and sort of do that inner healing on yourself, it literally brings the darkness and just brings it out into the light. So if I just explain a few things, because I really feel that this video needs to be done, purely because I feel like there's a lot of us like-minded souls out there like this, and I just want people to understand what I went through, in hopes that it will also help them and understand what they might be going through with certain things, and especially fear-based indoctrination, and other people's opinions, and judgment, lack of judgment, and also not honouring yourself and your own soul growth and your own belief, and just basically your own energy and your own powers that we all have. So if I start a little bit about what happened, a few weeks ago, at the beginning of the month, I went on it was basically a spiritual circle. One of my friends asked if I'd like to come along. She thought I'd be able to get some help and some insights, and just basically develop my journey and take it further. And I thought, you know what, it sounds like a good idea, I'll come along. And in hindsight, I sort of didn't really think much into it. I just thought I'd be able to get some help, but I did get help, but not in the way I was expecting. The help I found was actually within me, and not to self-doubt or let anybody put doubt in my mind. So basically it was a spiritual circle, and I went, and I was told obviously what happens in a circle stays in a circle. You're not allowed to repeat what happens in a circle. If you do, your gifts get taken away. And I was like, oh, okay. So straight away I was like, oh, what if, do you know what I mean? I was just like, I understand not to talk about anybody else's experience, but what if I want to talk about my own experience? But anyway, I feel like I have to talk about my own experience, because I feel like I have to help other people as well through my own experience. So yeah, when we arrived, like as I said, there was sort of 7 of us, and we were led into prayer to open a circle. And we were sort of taken on a guided meditation where we were asked to share what we experienced in the meditation. And I was asked to share mine first. The friend who took me said, basically I was picked out first. And I explained that in my meditation, in my mind's eye, because it was guided, we were basically led down a path, and we were, I think, felt like to the right of me there was like fields, and as you're going down the fields, at the end of the field there's allotment, and in the allotment there's like vegetables growing, and there's flowers, and there's 3 rows of flowers, and we were asked to pick what colour flowers we were given, like sort of, so my flowers I could see in my mind's eye were like a pink sweet pea with a little caterpillar on it, red tulips with a little chrysalis on it, and yellow daffodils with butterflies on, and I thought that was nice. And I was also seeing like a big sunflower, and then I forgot to mention there was like just wild blue orchids everywhere, which I thought was lovely in the meditation. And anyway, when we were brought round again, like in the meditation, they asked what I see, so I explained what I see. And my friend was doing a guided meditation, but the lady running it, she explained to me that she was an older lady. She was in her 70s, and she'd been doing this for a few years, like a long time. So I just assumed she was psychic. And I had respect for her, you know, because I've always been brought up to respect people. And she said the pink sweet peas, they were lovely, and they were the colour of love, which I know pink sweet peas are. But she said the red tulips is obviously my passion, but I need to be careful with my passion because it also comes with a warning, because apparently tulips, they don't last very long as a flower. And the fact that my passion could easily wear off. Well, obviously everyone knows my passion. I love everything to do with the angels and how much they've helped me in my life and just all sorts. So I was like, oh, I don't see that wearing off. Like, my angels have been with me all my life, so why should that wear off? And then like yellow daffodils was about wisdom. I thought, oh, that's quite insightful. That was nice. And then everyone else was sharing their meditation, and person next to me, he shared his, and then my friend was like, oh, I bet you have some insights that you want to share about his meditation. I just said no, I thought it was a really nice guided meditation. And yeah, so then we were all asked sort of why are we here, what do we want to get from today. And I just sort of explained that what I do, I have lovely meditations, but bit of January blues come in, and just life in general. I'd been so busy, and I was on antibiotics the week before, and I was just sort of struggling a little bit. I was saying what I get in my meditation is lovely, absolutely love it, but I just want a direction. Where am I going with this? What direction is it leading me? Where to go with my business, and sort of just life stuff really, which happens with everybody. But I made my mistake in saying that, so sort of showed my vulnerability at a cost, because there's 3 fears at the minute that I face, which is judgment from others, fear of sort of dark energies and things like that, because before, when I was not in a good place and I was sort of single mum on my own, I lived in this flat and I did have something there, spirit wise, and I heard it, and it used to frighten me, and I used to get this feeling, and so I've always sort of been a little bit worried about that, and there was always sort of like that sort of scared energy, and that dark feeling that I'd never want to bring back into my life again. And then obviously people saying that this is all mental health and I'm all making it up and I'm crazy. So I was like, do you know what, they're like my main fears, and I sort of had to face them, and I had to do the work on them, and I'm so glad I did face those fears, because it's freed. It's really made me feel free and a lot more happier inside. And anyway, let's get back to what happened. So yeah, so I'd explained that I'd been going through some stuff, and also then everybody else was sharing their experiences, and then we just started just talking really in general. And one guy was mentioning how he's really sort of fascinated with like the Egyptians and sort of like ancient alien kind of stuff, and I found that I brought that up, and I said, oh, I've been looking into this lately, and with meditations that I have, and I've found it really fascinating. And I sort of mentioned my guardian angel Sarah, as I did at the beginning of the book, beginning of the video, and just explained how I connected to her, and how recently I had meditation where I was sort of connected up to the stars, and how I just found that all amazing, and it was just really, really fascinated me. With that, the lady who ran the circle, the older lady, not my friend, she turned around to me and she said, well, no wonder you're crazy. That would send anybody crazy and mental. That's mental health kind of stuff, what you're experiencing. With that, it sent a panic off in my heart, because I felt like I was being judged, and I was like, but isn't this what meditation is? Isn't it what we do? She was like, no, you need to come from God, you're going up too high, you need to come to God's level. And I was like, but God's level's in the heavens. I always ask for God and the angels, and I even say Lord's Prayer sometimes, like before I do my angel healing, and I'm always asking for God. I always wake up in the morning and go, what would God like to do today? Like the God aspect and source in self, and just that love, that all-encompassing love which I feel from my angels and when I do my angel healings, you know. And so that really confused me. So I was like, what I do isn't wrong or bad, like, you know, like. So I straight away had that panic attack, and instantly I started to cry, because the fight and flight response in me is, I just started to cry because I didn't want to be rude to the lady, and I had respect for her, but I felt like she wasn't respecting me. So it was like, wow, okay, you don't just say things like that in circles to people, because you don't know the damage it can do to them and what they're going through. And also, so that really shook me up, because I was really sort of worried about that. And then anyway, the man opposite me all of a sudden turned around and said, I can see your guardian angel flapping behind you. And I was just like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, your guardian angel's sitting behind you. I thought I was in a beginner's circle, so I didn't realise this man in front of me was also in a medium. He said, I can see your guardian angel behind you, she's flapping and there's a dark energy there. So I mentioned another fear of mine is dark energy, and I was like, what do you mean dark energy? And the lady next to me said something about dark energy, and I was like, oh, what do you mean, what dark energy? And then he said, what are you doing to ground yourself? And I explained all what I do to ground myself and that, but he didn't give me any further information about grounding or what I was doing. So I was like, so I know how to ground myself properly, you know, because there was nothing more to add on how to ground yourself properly. And then I said again, what do you mean by dark shadows? And the woman next to me who agreed there was dark shadows, she went, what dark shadow? I said, but you've just said I've got dark shadows. Oh yeah, you've got dark shadows. And even my friend Bex was like, said, can you clarify that? And I was like, yeah, can you clarify that? I mean, you know, it was just like literally they left me sort of there panicking. And so obviously it made me cry even more. And it was just, you know, one of those moments where you actually want to get up and walk out, but you can't because you don't want to be rude. And I know there isn't any dark well, I know the dark shadow around me was the fear that they were incorporating into me, and that's a shadow, isn't it? That's a shadow you have to work on, but not dark entity as in spiritual attack or any malicious or malevolent being, you know, not anything like that. And that's where I struggled with this circle, because I was like, there's no way you can let people walk out of there like that thinking that they've got, you know, like that in itself was so dangerous and just really upsetting. And at the time I wasn't thinking clearly, and bear in mind I'd been on antibiotics, I hadn't been well, so I was just like, wow, what on earth is going on here? And I remember coming home to my husband after it, and I said to him, I said, he asked me how it went. I said, oh, it was amazing. And obviously they were saying I was crying, I was releasing, and that, and he knew something was wrong with me. He knew I wasn't right, and like instantly I felt back to when I first met him and when I lived in my flat, and I used to have that fear, and he just held me, and it was just like that healing hug that I needed from him. And then that night when my head hit the pillow, I was like, something's not right about this. Something is very, very not right. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, what on earth is going on? And then my friend messaged me the next day asking me if I was okay and if I'd like to have a one-to-one, and I was like, yeah, I probably need it. Do you know what? I think I probably need it. But I'm very lucky that I've got amazing spiritual friends. So I called two of my friends, both got the same name as me, first name as me, Jen. So I called my first friend Jen up and I explained to her what happened, and she knows my whole life story, and she was like, Jen, that wasn't a great circle to be in because they didn't explain to you what the dark was, she said. And obviously where was it? Where did they say it was? And I said, well, he said it was sort of behind me. She went, well, yeah, that's behind you. That's in the past. And I was like, she said, like they needed to sort of elaborate on that. And then my other friend said she had an experience like that at a spiritual circle. And she said the darkness isn't in you. She said it's in them projecting onto you. She said you haven't got any dark around you whatsoever. She went, and they're both psychics, and my other friend Jen's been doing this for 40 years, and she absolutely knows her stuff. And she said it's not you, darling. She goes, so please don't think that. And I just needed a lot of healing, and I needed to sit with what had happened, and I basically sat and gave my own power away. I mean, I've been doing this for 4 years, but I do know my stuff, and I do know what I do, and you know, and I just doubted my own abilities and doubted myself and put my own, do you know what I mean, I just didn't stick up for myself, and I just let myself down a bit, you know. But it gave me the realization that in situations like that, it's okay to say no, and it's okay to stand up for yourself. And like when I come home that night from the circle, it was like I actually wanted to go in my room and clear out all my angel stuff, everything. I just was like, I felt like getting rid of it all, because that's how they made me feel, like I was doing something bad. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, I do something that's so beautiful and loving, and I have so many beautiful messages. It's all about love. It's all about faith. It's everything. Like even when I've had stuff happen to me and I've called my angels in, and they've literally, the fear has just dispersed, and the issue that I have has just literally melted away, and there's no issue, you know. So I know that calling my angels in, how can that be evil? How can that be bad? Or how can that, you know, how can that be anything but pure God's love? And I was like, sometimes it's in you, you know, trust yourself more. And which goes back to the meditation that I had at the beginning of this year, and how to connect to my guides is know yourself. And that's what they told me, by knowing yourself. So by knowing myself and getting rid of my fears, although it was, my fears were hit with me with people's judgment all at once, being told there's dark energies around me all at once, being told I've got mental health problems because of my meditation, do you know what I mean? So it was everything was so confined. And then when I sort of looked at what happened and reached out to my friends in the spiritual world and people who do this and know their stuff, I was like, oh, thank God, you know, it's not that, and it's okay to say no. Like I kept hearing it's okay to say no, because I was invited to go back to the circle and sort of, but I was like, do you know what, it's not for me, this is not my path, and I feel like I'd be suppressing my own ability and not going with my gut feeling around this, which is all about trusting your own gut. And I'm so bloody glad I did trust my own gut, and since then I've been getting stronger connections to my archangel, my guardian angel Sarah. I had a beautiful angel healing meditation where we connected to Archangel Self-Don. Now when so I'm just looking in my book, because with Archangel Self-Don it was absolutely amazing, and I wrote a few things down, and I just need to find, there we go, get rid of, sorry, bear with me one moment. Just finding what I said about Archangel Salvador. Did I even write it down? I hope I did write it down, because it was amazing when I connected to this angel. But anyway, this angel, Archangel Salvador, when I looked him up, it was all about facing your fears, and yeah, face your fears and just let your light shine, and it was just saying, go back to your beginnings, go back to your start. So I done one of my very first angel guided meditations, and that's where I found Archangel Self-Don in that, because it was just like literally that angel that was brought in. Just really, I just really needed to see that angel. And yeah, and meditation does provide the answers, and it was just quite literally facing all my fears at once. really really taught me to know myself. And before I did this video, I thought I'd pull 2 cards. So the first card I pulled was forgiveness. Angel wisdom reminds you that challenging people and situations are sent to you as your most important teachers. Without them, your soul would not grow. Your guidance is to let go of the hurt, resentment and anger of the past. When you forgive others and yourself, your karma is rubbed out of your soul records. You will enjoy love in your heart and lightness of spirit. Ask the angels to help you to solve your hurt, anger and guilt. They'll take away your burdens from you. When you love unconditionally, there is nothing to forgive. Love is forgiving, so open your heart and give love. Which exactly that. I totally forgive them. I actually thank them for bringing that to me, because I wouldn't have dealt with that, would I? So I absolutely send so much love out to those people in that group, and also forgive myself mainly, because I may have not have defended myself or my beliefs. I may have just sat there and let people speak to me, but in a way it helped me, and it led me to not ever doubting myself, or sort of giving my power away, or thinking that I don't know stuff when I know so much. I know so much. And I remember I acted like I didn't know anything at all when I stepped in there, and it was like my memory got erased. But I realised how much I do know. So yeah, and then I pulled out the five of water. Things not turning out the way you hoped, not seeing the positive in a situation, crying over spilt milk. Didn't turn out the way I hoped. I didn't get the guidance from people that were in the group. I ended up, and it took me a few days, over a week, to get the guidance that I needed from myself. And the positive out of that situation is I learned it from myself, and I didn't need any help from anyone else. And yeah, I love that, and I love the fact that I pulled these 2 cards. And yeah, it just goes to show, when you connect and the answers are within us, why do we seek validation from others and outside sources? And this is the key, to go into meditation and find your own answers, and experience life yourself. Like, some people don't have the right advice for you. Some people haven't even got the right advice for themselves anyway, you know. So you need to, it's doing the self-work and the inner work, and looking at, what are your fears? Why are you scared of this? Why are you scared of being judged? Why are you scared of people saying things about you? It really doesn't matter. Who gives a flying at the end of the day? Because what matters is what's in your heart, and the love that you give out to everyone, and how you treat your friends, and how you're kind to people, you know, out on the street. It doesn't matter. It's just, and more important is how you treat yourself. Like, we beat ourselves up so much. It's all well and good being, you know, you could be kind and that, but you really at the end of the day, it's about being kind to yourself more than anything, because self-kindness is the most important kindness there is. And I just think we're not kind enough to ourselves. I certainly wasn't kind enough to myself, you know, and just to sort of let me be pushed around a bit. And I was just like, do you know what, I'm going to work on a bit of self-love and meditate a bit more, and the answers, they're all within me. And this is the thing, and this is what I want to teach people, is self-validation is the best validation. You don't need anybody else to tell you what you're doing is right or wrong, you know, as long as you're coming from your heart and you're coming from your heart space. Like, love yourself more than anything, and then you can give more love out to the world. And that's what I learned through this kind of stuff, is the more self-love and the more love you give to yourself, the more love you can push out there onto the world. And that's what I want to be doing, and I want to be working more with my guardian angel Sarah and bringing her messages through. And I did write one of her messages down, actually. So I will read my message out. So this is sort of what I wrote down in a meditation, and it was just like channel angel message. So, blessed are you who shows no fear, embrace the light and shine in all directions to heal yourself and others. Let your heart sing. It is a song of love, joy, hope and faith. Be the guiding light. Make thoughtful choices. Keep calm in the face of the storm. When you feel out of balance, ask us in to hold your hand, ask us in to hold your heart. We can hold your hand by holding your heart. And I was like, that is, when I looked at that and I read that after, and I was like, oh my God, what a beautiful message. And it was just like something, I just sat there in meditation, my pen just started writing, and I just channeled that out. And I was just like, at the time, that's what I needed to be telling myself, you know. And it's just have faith, have that faith, and just keep trusting. And yeah, it's just that it happened for me. It really did happen for me, and I love that. So I'm sending you all my love, and thank you for watching this video till the end. And you guys are absolutely amazing for sticking around, and I will be doing more of my little videos when I have time, because time just goes by too fast. So yeah, I shall see you all soon. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.